Hey, Super Llama. How you doing? Hey, Bowers. How's it going? It's going alright. It's going alright. Just watched the Mario movie not 2 hours ago, so that was a thrill ride and a half. And now I am home. Pretty good. Been meaning to come to a stream for a long time. Aw. Well, glad to have you. We're gonna be mostly talking today. That's right. You get to listen to my ear grating voice for a while. I hope that doesn't bother you. I heard it was mid. Ah! How best to accurately describe the Mario movie? I said it when me and my friends we went to the Dollarama, not like 2 minutes away. While we were in there, I said the best way to describe the Mario movie was watching a speed run. Like, it was a speed run of a Mario plot, which the Mario universe, a lot of people are just like, well, it's Mario. There's not a lot of plot to it. It's Mario saves the damsel. But, like, there's a lot you could honestly do with Mario. I'll put it this way. The movie, if you're going into Super Mario Brothers the movie for a deep experience, I have to remind you that this movie was made by the same people that made the Minions. Illumination is a extremely safe animation choice if you're just wanting a kids movie. I wouldn't say it's amazing, but this is my opinion, and I'm glad that you think so. I'm glad that you got more out of it than I did. I was going into the movie not wanting to hate it. And I was pleasantly surprised with a lot of stuff. One, the animation. Illumination, oh my god, if Illumination is just allowed to go nuts, they make some of the best animated films I've seen. Not acted or anything, like, just visually, the Mushroom Kingdom, like, the Mushroom Kingdom world is stunning. Like, they did a fantastic job animating this movie. It was very clean, very flowing. It was so nice to the eyes. And, like, it was a sharp contrast from, like, the New York to the Mario world. Yeah, it's an isekai, though. It's an isekai. They pull from the cartoon. Joyous me! I needed to be reminded of that. The Chris Pratt voice, I was very vocal about my dislike of Chris Pratt. Now, Charles Martinet, I wouldn't want to listen to Mario talking the whole movie in that voice. Trust me, I am an adult, and I can handle the yippee, yahoo in game. I cannot handle it as the priority voice. The other voice cast was perfectly fine. Luigi, I liked. Jack Black as Bowser. You know they picked Chris Pratt and Jack Black to just have names on the movie. And where Chris Pratt was fine as Mario, Jack Black as Bowser, he put his soul into this performance. I genuinely liked when Bowser was on screen at all times. It was great. Even though my friend summed him up the best is that he's the incel Bowser in this movie. Which I cannot disagree with, but it just makes it funnier for me. Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. It was okay. Peach, I don't know who her voice actress was. Hold on, let me look it up quick. Peach voice actress for the Mario movie. Taylor-Joy. She was okay. No disrespect on her. It is, they did not give Peach a lot to work with. So I ain't touching that with a 5-foot pole. Toad, he was fine. My major complaint with the movie is that it moves 80 kilometers a fucking second. Like, we get, like, a slow start with, like, the Mario Bros. In New York, but then the second we get into the Mushroom Kingdom, it's like rapid fire, plot points happening so fucking fast. We're not allowed to sit. We're not allowed to breathe with anything. Like, Mario meets Toad, and it's just, we're friends now. No questioning what the fuck Toad is. No questioning about where the fuck I am. It is, your question has been answered. Now follow me, O quest man. I shall deliver you to the person with the quest message over her head. And it's a shame. Like, we're introduced to this world so fucking fast. And I'm like, oh, look at all that, look at all that. The references all over the place, like the elevators from Mario 3D World, like all this different stuff. They incorporate it so well into the movie, but we hang on it so little. And I'm just like, can I have like a little bit more of an establishment of this world, please? No? We're going rapid fire into this plot? Jesus, God, slow down. Like, Peach and Mario meeting, I timed it. It was a minute. It was a minute. From the second Mario meets Peach, she just decides to help him within a fucking minute. Which, wow, movie. Can we slow down, please? It keeps this consistent pace throughout the movie, and we're not given time to breathe. Like, we will cut to Bowser for, like, maybe 2 minutes, and then right back to Mario and Peach. And, like, Luigi is the damsel in distress in this movie. He's the one that needs to be saved. But, like, we get maybe 2 scenes of him by himself, where, like, one of them is, admittedly, a really cute scene of him getting picked on by the his old boss from the Wrecking Crew. Nice reference there, by the way. And Mario comes in and stands up for him, and I thought that was a really adorable scene. Just seeing, like, baby Mario, baby Luigi, and not, like, the Illumination massive eyes babies. No, they're their original selves, and I was very happy to see that. But, like, that's all we get. Ah! Hi, Shadow. And then, like, we get the Kongs. We get the Kongs. Like, background, I love seeing the Kongs. The Kongs are great. Those who worked on the music, music's perfect. If it wasn't any of that fucking 80s and 90s bullshit, the music was beautiful. The orchestral renditions of the Mario music was wonderful to listen to. I just hate that we had, like, fucking, I Need a Hero and other of these licensed songs. We didn't need that in the movie. But they put it in there for the adults. You know we're smart enough to retain information that's not that, right? But anyway, I like this MSG4 reference, too. But yeah, like, this world is stunning. I like the idea that the Kongs made the Mario Karts. I like that idea so much. But it's left up in the air. It's just like, nope, they did it. Moving on. Why? I want to know this world! I want to know it! Why are you denying me this? And a lot of people are going to point out, like, this is a kid's movie. It's a kid's movie. And that is a totally fair statement. Totally fair. This is just my problems. Seeing Bowser's Kingdom, it feels like the games, and that's honestly fine with me. Punch on the pizzeria! Oh my god! Let me get through my complaints first, and then let me gush. Honestly, my complaints with the movie is that it's just too fast, doesn't slow down, it treats its audience like they're on ADHD meth pipes. Yeah, I need to turn down my volume. Hold on. I'll turn myself down. Turn myself down. How's that? Better? That's better. Yeah, so, like, this movie, like, that's my major complaint, is that this movie does not slow down. It's just constantly fast. There's no breathing room for the audience. It's just start, go. And it kind of sucks, because I feel like I want more in a bad way. Like, I left the theater with a less experience. That's my major complaint about the movie, is that, like, there wasn't enough. And, like, it feels like there's an extra 30 to 40 minutes missing from this film somewhere. And maybe they'll release a director's cut. I don't know. I would like to see it. I would love to see it. But neither here nor there. Along with the voice acting, half of it was really good, half of it was mid. There's room for sequels. There is. Okay. Things I liked about the movie, and it's mostly because I'm a Nintendo fan. For one, the references that we see throughout the movie. I genuinely giggled at a few. For one, they show Glass Joe on the pizzeria in the opening of the film. That was cute. That was really, really cute to me. That they had, like, the boxers from Punch-Out on the wall. That was really cute to me. There's a scene in the movie where Mario is playing Kid Icarus, and that was adorable. The movie feels very Nintendo, and I like that. I like that a lot. We get tons of references when we're in the Mario Kingdom. We get to see the world kind of live as we're going through it in the movie. We see, like, the enemies from, like, 3D World just, like, kind of marching around like they're part of the environment, because that's what they are. They're animals in that environment. We get, like, Toad Town from, like, the Mario Brothers games, and that was really, really nice to see. Just their society doing what they do best, living their lives, that kind of thing. We had, like, an antique store with, like, the music block. It was just cute to see that too. Bowser's Kingdom. We didn't see, like, every enemy type there is. We saw, like, Shy Guys, Goombas, Koopa Troopas, Hammer Brothers, Spinies, Snippets, and Magic Koopa. It was actually really funny that, like, Jack Black went, like, Koopas, Goombas, where the hell you guys are? That was funny to me, because, like, he's not gonna know everything. He's not a nerd like the rest of... He's not, like... You're not expected to know everything. Blue Shell. Yeah. Honestly, like... If I had to say this about the Mario movie, if I had to, like, give my solid opinion on it, it's a movie that you watch twice. First for the plot, second for anything in the background, and then you're pretty much done with it. it is not a movie that you go to for like deeper meaning, for like deeper lore on the Mario universe. No, you don't go to the movie for that. You go to it to have a good time, to have a chuckle, and then you're out the theater. That's what Illumination is to me. It is a very safe animation studio. And I hate saying that. Because I genuinely believe that if Illumination is just let off the fucking leash, they could make a truly wonderful film. Like, the fucking, like, Despicable Me 1 was a great film. But then, like, Illumination got put into this box of safety. And I think that's why Nintendo chose them. Is because they're safe. They're very safe. Which sucks. But at the same time, I imagine a lot of this was mandated by Nintendo. And we'll never know till the commentary comes out. Sec Aramis. And that's kind of sad, but at the same time, like, the 90s existed, and we got Super Mario Bros. Super Show and the Legend of Zelda show. I would be very hesitant to ever do anything cartoon-wise with Mario and Zelda ever again after that. And the fact that, like, they let Mario onto the silver screen again after the Mario Brothers movie, like the debacle that was, honestly, I could see why they chose Illumination. And, like, again, I do not think Illumination is a bad studio. I think they're a safe studio. You want, like, you just want, like, a kid's film to make noise? Illumination does good job on that. They have made good movies. Despicable Me 1, Sing, I think Sing 2 apparently is really good. The Mario Brothers movie, perfectly fine films. It's just that it's way too safe. They play it really close to the chest, and I think that's what hinders this movie. And they really need to stop hiring, like, named actors. Like Chris Pratt, Jack Black. No. Jack Black does have experience, along with Seth Rogen, and I think, like, a few others in the movie. They do have experience as animated characters. Chris Pratt, as far as I'm aware, has done one animated film, and that was the Lego Movie. And he just doesn't have the range for an animated character. He plays an everyman very well. And that's what they were going with Mario in this one. He's an everyman. He's the one that wants to do good. He's just trying to get by, live his life, and wants people to be proud of him and to acknowledge when he makes a decision. And he's really good at playing that, but, like, he doesn't match the energy of the movie with his voice, which is very hard. Trust me, aspiring voice actor, I understand how hard it is to do that. But I would rather someone else other than Chris Pratt and a lot of these other named actors. If you had to keep one, Jack Black. Perfect choice. Well, not the perfect choice, but the best choice in my opinion. If you couldn't get anyone else. Okay, now on to the things that I really want to talk about. Owl House. Owl House. So, Owl House. Its finale just came out. 2 days ago. Well, a few days ago, but whatever. The Owl House it started out a little rough. Let's not get our tongues twisted here. Owl House started off very, very episodic, very, very fast. It was not until the end of season 1 where I think Owl House hit its stride. Like, where it hit the ground running. And it was also competing with its sister show, Amphibia, while also trying to live up to Gravity Falls. Now I'm going to put it this way. This is not an attack on Owl House. That's just my criticism. The first season of Owl House is good. It's good. It's good. It's just not as strong as season 2 and season 3. But that's because they were establishing stuff. Plus, like, arguing with Disney. I'm amazed they got away with half the shit they did on that show. Season 1 was okay. Season 2 hit the ground running. And didn't stop. It was really, really good. Building up everything that we needed. Building up Luz's relationships, her relationship to the world that she's in, and that it is a sort of a deconstruction on Trapped in Another World. Because Luz is not a chosen one in Owl House. They make that extremely clear. It was just happenstance that, like, she encountered Albert and made friends with Ida. This wasn't like a chosen one situation. There was no prophecy with her, like defeating Bellows. It was, you're a 13 to 14-year-old who got stuck here. And how Luz kinda had to really grow up fast. Because in a lot of these magical worlds, there is politics in it. And there is a way things are done. Now, we never really get to see the politics of the Owl House. Which is perfectly fine, but we do see the things in it that make the world run and function. We're introduced to a lot of different things. And the magic school, we're introduced to it perfectly fine. And they explain, like, oh no, like, in order to do magic, you need to, like, pick a course. You become a master in that course. You are stuck in that lane. And, we're explained that, like, oh, because, like, wild magic is dangerous. It's unpredictable. So, and, like, wild witches are unpredictable and dangerous. Never going into detail about how and why, which is very good for a regime that wants to keep it that way. That they don't want people challenging them, unless you are among them. Yeah, and the message of Owl House, his second episode, is that if you're waiting to be someone special, you're gonna be waiting till you die. And that is a perfectly good message. No, you do not need someone to tell you you're special. You are special on your own merit, and you have to put in the legwork. Which is perfectly fine. Perfectly a reasonable analogy. It is very fine. Season 2 is more of a deconstruction about the hero. And who Luz wants to be. And that Luz made an ultimate sacrifice in that. She chose to forego the safety of her home, to, like, help. And that's a perfectly valid decision from her. And we see the ramifications of that. It's not just like, oh, she's fine with it. She's scared. She's terrified. She's stuck. She doesn't know what's going to happen to her mom. And when she learns that, like, a shapeshifter has taken over her life, she's put off by it, but, like, she just wants to see her mom again. And we get more and more with Luz and Amity A little bit with Willow, a little bit with Gus, more with Hunter, who is introduced in season 2 as an antagonist until he becomes an ally. And I need to organize my thoughts a little bit better here. Season 2 was the deconstruction of... It wasn't really a deconstruction, but it was like seeing the situation go from bad to worse, and the heroes really can't do anything about it. Like, they're dealing with forces that were way beyond even their comprehension and understanding. And that, like, Luz keeps fucking up. Season 2 is filled with Luz making mistakes. And those mistakes weighing on her. However, in the context of every time she fucks up, it is not her entire blame. She's tricked. She's manipulated. She gets too excited because she's a kid. This shit happens. She's used by people who are wiser and much more experienced than her. And she has to figure out how to get around it. And, like, we do see with, like, a parallel with Hunter is that he's perfect in every way. He's good at magic. He's good at doing his job. But the second he fucks up, he comes crashing down. Like, he's immediately, like, thrown off balance the second something goes wrong. And, like, he loses control of the situation. Yeah, no, this entire stream is spoilers. I'm sorry. Like, in contrast, Luz is better at handling chaotic situations way better than Hunter ever was. It's just that both of them do not take failure very lightly. And that's what makes them the same in a lot of ways. They both do not want to fail. And it's the season 2 finale where we see the ultimate failure. I.e., you didn't beat the bad guy, you didn't stop the end of the world, you didn't win. You survived. Hello. Hi. Hi. I love you. Okay, I love you. Luz and her friends did not win in the season 2 finale. They survived the season 2 finale, which is a lot better than what most people got. And that's where season 3 starts off. We survived. Now what? Well, what can you do? There's no way back. There's no way back home. Key's destroyed. Titan blood doesn't exist in the human world, as far as they were aware, and all they know is that the Collector is free and bad things are happening on the other side. And, like, we do get to see the kids living in the human realm for, like, a few months. Sure, like, we get, like, a montage of it leading up to Halloween, but, like, just having the magic of characters living in the mundane of our world. Oh, I love you. They got me Jolly Ranchers, guys. Thank you. Having these magical characters live in the mundane of our world and, like, get used to it, that was funny. Seeing, like, how they react to the alarm clock was funny, and just, like, how the creature that is, like, been living here for about a year just stare at them like, you guys are so fucking stupid. It's really funny, and just seeing, like, how the one that's lived there the longest just be like, haha, I learned Spanish. Well, Amity's like, I used to be the #1 student. That was adorable. Hi, Blue. But we do see the toll that this, like the first two seasons, had on Luz. She's broken at the start of season 3. She's broken in the specials. She blames herself for everything that happened. She blames herself for Belos. She blames herself for Ida's condition getting worse. She blames herself for what happened to King. She blames herself for the Collector being free. And that, like, she genuinely says that, like, it would have been better if I never existed, or I wasn't there. Which is the complete opposite from what, like, Ida and King would say. From what, Ida's sister would say, or her friends, even Hunter. But she's focused on her failures. Because she's a kid. That's all she sees. She doesn't see the successes. She doesn't see that her encouragement of Willow made her life better. That her encouragement of Gus made him stop feel welcome and feel like he actually mattered in a lot of ways. Her talks with her dealing with Amity and being in Amity's life and standing up for Amity and standing up against her in many ways. And just showing Amity that you can't live this way and you can't do this to people helped Amity become a better person along with her siblings. Ida and King were total outcasts that didn't know how to deal with society, and Luz was sort of that neutral good grounding point for their chaotic, which helped them a lot, but it also helped Luz feel like she wasn't an alien. That she wasn't alone. And when she was dealing with Hunter, she seen the complete opposite side of herself, but the things that were just as bad with that. The person that was the special child, the one that got everything, the isekai protagonist, Hunter. And just how damaged he was. He was not built for society. He didn't know how to interact with kids his own age. Because, like, he's the example of the person in the box. The very same thing her mother wanted to put her into. Until we learn in the first episode of season 3, her mom didn't want to do that. Her mom failed her just like Luz has failed. But unlike Luz, she's an adult. And she has the tools and the skills, and probably along with the therapy, that she realized that she fucked up. And that she should have stood up for Luz. And that's why she was being such a good mom to her doppelganger. Because she was wanting to make up for it, and when she learned that Luz was trapped in another world, she's genuinely concerned about her safety, and when she's back, it's not... She doesn't start getting angry at her, she doesn't start belittling her, she doesn't, like, get overprotective of Luz. She is exactly what she needs to do for Luz. To be there for her. To be her mom. To be an anchoring point. To be someone that Luz can talk to. And that, like, Luz should not feel shame. And that it wasn't her fault. Luz's mom is best mom. Fuck the rest of you. But we see, like, what this experience has done to Luz. And it's heartbreaking. Because we see this smiling young woman turn into, like, this really depressed and, like, closed off person who doesn't want to... Ida is also best mom, of course. Of course she is. The poor girl just needed... She lost her support. She lost Ida. She lost King. She lost the two people in her life that helped change her life, who encouraged her behavior, who encouraged her more free-thinking style, but also was, like, wise enough with Ida to go with, you need to tone it back. You need to be patient. You can't just jump into everything. Like, look at me. I fucked up. I fucked up a lot of my life. And she doesn't have that. She has her mom. Which, when we like get a moment between Luz and her mom, it's, why aren't you mad at me? And the conversation is very genuine. That, like, her mom isn't mad at her, because what is there to be mad about? She's just happy she's home safe, which is perfectly fine. And the rest of the episode is dealing with a hunter-possessed Bellows who manages to find a way back to the other world, back to the Boiling Isles. And the ending scene where, like, it is such a good moment for Ina. Seeing that, and, like, seeing, like, what these kids had to go through by, like, just seeing, like, Hunter be possessed by Bellows, and just how these kids have been managing to hold their own, and that Hunter is a victim just as much as everyone else. And seeing Hunter stand up to Bellows was really good. And seeing that Luz's mom, like, will murder for these kids. She is straight up going mom mode for all of them. They are her kids. Doesn't matter if they're not biologically related to her. They are her responsibility, and she will murder a bitch if they hurt them. Which is really funny to me. Hunter, though we don't... I like Hunter's arc, that he has to grow to be able to talk to his, like, to people his age, and that he has to, like, want more from his world, like, his life, than what was given to him. He wants to find purpose in his life. And when he stands up to Bellows, he does find purpose in his life. He says, like, I want to have a life. I want to live my life how I want to live it. I want friends. I want to play Grudge Beat. I want to do this. I want to live. That was perfect for Hunter. The Golden Guard, who was lied to about being a clone and everything, choosing for himself the life that he wants to live, perfect. And the end of the episode, the gang is ready to leave. Luz does not want to go back, but her mom stops her from saying it and says, showing your mom the Boiling Isles. Being a supportive mom to the end, because she knows that this is important to Luz. And she's not going to let her daughter make another mistake that will hurt her. Because she knows what that's like. And when we get back to the Boiling Isles, we see just how fucked up the situation is. But before we do that, we get a little bit more development with everything else. Hunter's lost his palisman. The bird is dead. Our bird is dead. I'm sad. I'm like trying to remember names left and right here. I'm struggling. I'm sorry. His palisman is dead. And Hunter doesn't know how to express himself emotionally in a way that lets his friends know that he's grieving, but he will be okay, and it's not any of their fault. He doesn't know how to express that, which is perfectly fine. Willow, this is more of like a Willow episode a little bit, where we see she's been trying to keep the gang together, like trying to be the anchor for them. But here's the thing. Anchors need people to lift them up. And I the best way to describe it is that I'm an anchor for my group of friends. And my relationship. Our therapist has described me and Phoenix is that Phoenix is the balloon, I'm the anchor. I bring them down to real expectations and reality while they lift me up and encourage me. Willow doesn't have that, and she has had no one to express her emotions, her feelings, how she's holding up. She's holding everyone else up, and no one knows, not for their fault by the way, that Willow is not doing okay, that she's struggling, she's stressed, she is putting all this expectation and weight on her own back, and no one notices because she's hiding it. And that she has to be the anchor. My god, my nose is itchy. And again, none of that is Willow's fault. It's not anyone else's fault. The one who catches it is Luz's mom, because she sees what she's doing. She's the adult. She knows what Willow is doing, and she knows that it's not good for her. And she tries to point it out, but Willow shuts that down. Now, Luz's mom doesn't press her further on it, because you can't push someone on that. And when we get to finally see what has become of the Boiling Isles, it is abundantly clear that this is fucked up. The Collector has basically toyified the island. They have done everything in their power to make it a fun little toy box at the expense of everyone else. But we're shown in both subtle and not so subtle ways that the Collector is a kid. They don't take the form of a kid because that's the thing we can understand. No, they are genuinely a fucking child. And King is being like the cricket on his shoulder, the Jiminy Cricket. Basically saying like, ha ha ha, you shouldn't do that, like that's really bad, please don't kill me. He is the perfect example of why children with godlike powers are dangerous. And it's not because the kid is malicious, it's not because he's evil. He's a kid with zero understanding of what the fuck he can do. He doesn't need to breathe. He doesn't need to eat. He doesn't need to do anything. He is an omnipotent being with powers of creation, with powers of manipulating reality. He is Zinch given form. And he doesn't understand the people he's fucking with. He doesn't understand that they too have emotions. They too have feelings. They feel pain. They can die. And that just because they're saying no to him doesn't mean that, like, they're bullying him or, like, they're being mean to him. He has to learn that, but no one can teach him it because he's a kid. But we see, like, there is glimmers of good in this kid. Like, when King reads him the bedtime story, we see that he scribbles out, if they don't listen to us collectors, burned their world. But he crossed it out, said, that's boring, that's dumb, I want to play. Granted, it's still a very selfish thing, but he's a kid. Of course, that makes sense. He would want to play, not murder. Kids are not inherently evil. Evil is learned. Evil is taught. Humans are not naturally evil. We naturally do not want to hurt people. We'll kill things to survive, but that is dispassionate. It is very removed. We gotta eat. But kids don't have that emotional intelligence yet. And we see that with, like, hey, what do humans eat? Space? Gravity? Pizza bites, the fun option. But those two answers before really show that he doesn't know what he's doing. And that he's very easily manipulated. The entirety of the episode is also dealing with, like, you have to... It's okay to fail. It's okay to open up emotionally. It's okay to be you. We get that with Luz, with, like, her palisman finally waking up, String Bean, very cute. Willow having to just finally vent out her feelings. That she misses her dad's. She's horribly fucked up emotionally. Like, Jesus Christ, how long were you holding this in, girl? It's okay. Let it out. Please don't do this to yourself. But I want to focus also back on King, because Ida and her sister don't get a lot of development. We see them living their life in, like, this new world, and that Ida is still being Ida. Her sister is still being her sister. Why am I forgetting? Kikimora was such a bitch. Oh my god! Fuck Kikimora. Why am I forgetting her Ida's sister's name? Ida's sister name. Lily. Yeah. We don't get a lot from Lily. We don't get a lot from Ida in this episode. We do get to see that King has had to grow up real fucking fast. And that, like, King in Season 1 is the perfect explanation for what the Collector is like. The Collector is King if he didn't have Luz and Ida. We see that King's solution is not to kill the Collector. Like, he says the Collector's a kid. He doesn't know any better. But I think if I can talk to him, or someone can talk to him, get down on his level, understand him, we could probably convince him what he's doing is wrong. I don't want to trap him. I don't want to kill him. Perfect. That was perfect for King. That was awesome. I appreciated that so much, that King went from being like, nah, just ruin it all, crush it, burn it all, to, I think we can talk to him. That was perfect for King. And I'm very, very happy that we got that. King was right. King was right. I'm very sad that Hootie got very little screen time. I miss my boy. He did not, aside from episode 2, he did not get a fucking line. Oh my god. Night Llama. My boy didn't get a single fucking line in episode 1 or 3. Shit, dude. Fuck! Oh, I love Hootie. Shit. Depressing realization. But we also see something interesting with Bellows. Bellows never learns. Bellows is dead set on his goal to kill the witches. And we see that his life, he has suffered for nothing. He puts himself in all these problems and blames everyone else for his fuck-ups. And we see that perfectly with his brother. He murdered his brother in cold blood and blamed his brother for him having to do it. And that, like, he couldn't let his brother be happy. The girl in the modern world said it best. Sounds like little brother got jealous that big brother got a witch girlfriend. Same principle different reason. Like, and we see that, like, the goal hasn't changed for Bells. It's a one-track mind for this Puritan. Kill everything. Wipe the board clean. I am the hero. I decide what's right. Even though he's wrong on everything. He is the exact epitome of someone who does not learn the other side. He does not move to change. He doesn't let his ideals, like, change at all. He is in it for genocide because he's a piece of shit that never learned. And it's very poetic that he turns everyone against each other in the first 2 seasons, but we see how much of a pathetic mess he is. He's falling apart. He can't keep it together. The second the situation goes out of control, out of his hands, he loses his fucking mind. Because he's the hero. He should be in control. He is essentially what Luz could have been given any other scenario, where she thinks she is the chosen one. He thinks he's the chosen one because he's the witch hunter. He has to kill the witches. When in reality, witches are no different than us. Difference is, they can do magic. We can't. Naturally. I love Luz just watching as he melted, not falling for it, not looking away. Oh yeah, we'll get there. And seeing as he goes right back to the manipulation. Possesses Rain, everything. He's just manipulative. He's a fucking sociopath. Or, like, has sociopathic tendencies. In how he manipulates a kid into doing what he wants. And then the finale. The finale reveals so much. Ida, Luz, and King are reunited, but everyone is taken. The Collector doesn't want to hurt Luz, King, or Ida, but he doesn't understand that, like, what he's doing is putting them in life-threatening situations. He doesn't understand that what he's doing is dangerous and very, very, very fucked up. And I love the line that Luz says to him. You don't understand what death is. Because, of course he doesn't. He's immortal. What the fuck is death to him? He doesn't know what it's like to lose somebody. He doesn't understand. He can't grasp the concept. Because it's never happened to him before. Yes, like, the Titans were killed in front of him, as he put it. Like, they were taken away. But, like, he doesn't understand it. He didn't understand why King's dad lashed out at him. Like, what? They're just gone. They'll come back. When the King fully understood, my people are fucking dead. And lashed out at the wrong person. Which is perfectly valid for both of them. And it's really heartwarming to see that Luz, Ida, and King, though they are upset with the Collector, they are genuinely upset with him, they don't treat him like a villain. They treat him like a kid that did something wrong. Because he did do something wrong. But instead of, like, punishing him, putting him back in the cage, they show him that it takes a lot more than just forcing people to play with you. You gotta do a little bit more than that. You gotta talk to them. You have to experience things with them. You have to be willing to hear that you're wrong. and accepting when you are wrong. Because Ida, Luz, and King were not friends instantly. It took some time. It took some time for the barriers to be broken down and for them to talk and hang out. It took time. And that's perfectly fine. And we see this when Belos manages to possess the Titan's body. Like, he fully transplant himself onto the heart. He is now the Titan. And he is going to, like, ruin the world. He's going to kill everybody. We see that the Collector does learn. He's a kid. He can learn. He emotionally and mentally learns the lessons that Luz, King, and Ida are applying, but he's still innocent. He's still naive. And when he thinks that, like, all I need to do is talk to Belos and he'll back down. He has that naiveness around him. And he tries to forgive Belos. Yes, exactly. He tries to forgive the person that manipulated him, who hurt him, who wanted to, like, just use him to kill everybody. He forgives him. He learned the right lesson. He just applied it at the wrong time. And Luz pays the ultimate price for it. And yeah, like I said, there is spoilers here. Luz dies. She straight up bites the fucking dust. And this is where the Collector learns that death is permanent. That Luz is gone. Like, she's not coming back. And he sees what it does to Ida and King. Like, they go red. They're angry. Their life has just been destroyed. Their friend, their family is gone for all they know. She's dead. So what is there left to do but go all out? They lost everything. So why not? It doesn't make them feel better. It's just rage. And the Collector just wants them to stop. And he sees that, like, what this has done to people, what his actions have led to, what Belos has done is wrong. And that, like, holy shit, mortals, there's so much more that I never understood, and I have to make it right. And then we get probably the most adorable fucking scene where Luz is in, like, the middle realm, like purgatory, the dimensions, whatever, and we get to meet the Titan. King's dad, played by Aaron Hansen of Game Grumps. That is him, by the way. And we get to see what kind of person the Titan is. He's laid back, he's very nice, he's very cordial, he's very supportive, very loving, and that he's very grateful that Luz and Ida have been so wonderful to Luz. Like, so wonderful to King. And when Luz, like, points out, like, well, aren't me and Belos the same person? He tells her, no. You did things because you were altruistic in what you wanted, and you just wanted to help. You are a good person. You didn't judge people. You never attacked them unless they attacked you first. And that you genuinely wanted to help people, and you genuinely did in so many ways. The difference between you and Belos is that you wanted to help people. He wanted to be a hero. There's two different ways of thinking with that. Belos is the writer of his own story. He's the kind of guy that no matter what you do, he's going to be narrow-minded and very straightforward. He's going to be the one to do everything in his power to look like a hero, even though he's not. He's the Gaston of this story. He's the person that thinks he's the hero when in reality he's the monster. All because he fell into that way of thinking. But instead of learning and reasoning out that he was wrong, he keeps digging himself a deeper grave. And we see the consequences of Bellus's actions. He's the one that kills King's dad at the end of the day. Like, King's dad fades away because of this, but before he does, he grants Luz his power. Won't last forever, it's like Super Saiyan 3, but here, have it. And here are my final words to King. And when Luz comes back, it's full fucking Sakuga. Yeah, you can make the argument that's a Deus Ex Machina, but they've been building it up since Season 2, and that is perfectly fine. And I love that, like, Luz is just given godlike powers because she can be trusted with a temporary power-up. And that she goes ham. She does not waste a fucking second. There is not a second to be wasted with her. She is on the target all the way. And when we get to the end, when she beats Bellos, her, Ida, Rain, and King beat Bellos together, and we get that final moment of Bellos being his young self again, but slowly falling apart because the visage is failing him. He's not regretful for his actions. He's not sorry. He feigns being sorry, but in reality, he's pissed that he failed. And he's trying to manipulate Luz into helping him again by putting on this pathetic act. But they're not having it. He had his chance. He had his chance to be better. If he hadn't learned in 100 years, he's not going to learn. He will never learn. And the fact that the last words he says is that you're disgusting, and that, like, pointing out to Luz that she's a monster proves that he never learned. He will never learn. And it's poetic that he dies pathetic. That he dies like he was. Slop. He was worth less than the mud on your boot. Now take this, sucker! And it's an adorable little ending. It's very adorable. We see Luz get to live her life, and that we get to see the Boiling Isles be free. But they also do point out, not everything's perfect. Everything that happened negatively is still going to be there. The Titan's arm being raised in that part of the world, that part of their world now being that. Ida never gets her hand back. The curse is still with Ida and her sister. They still have their curses, by the way. Harpy Lilith and Harpy Ida are the sexiest motherfucking things I've ever seen in my life. Yes, please, Bird Mommy. We get to see their world. The consequences of what happened still are there. They're fixing it, but they can't fix everything. But we also do see that King's magic is starting to come, and that it's a whole new sigil language that Luz has to learn, which is perfectly fine. That is fun for me. We also get to see their 18-year-old canon designs. Hell yes. Love how all of them look. Love each and every one of the designs. And honestly, if Phoenix had a Harpy mode, you would never see me again. I slave to my wife. Slave to my wife. Anyway. If this is the true end of Owl House, perfect. I could ask for nothing better. I understand that Dana Terrace and her crew were put under a lot of pressure from Disney, but I am very happy, very, very happy. She is non-binary. That was confirmed by Dana. She's bi and she's non-binary. But, this is how, like, this is a perfect ending for me. The consequences still exist, but they can grow. They can move on. They get their happy ending. No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It was a tweet. It was a tweet. Do not worry about it. The after fallout from the finale has been some of the funniest shit I've seen from Twitter in a while. Holy shit, that shit is funny. But, all in all, Owl House started off a bit rocky, but stuck the landing. They did such a good job. To Dana Terrace, you made a wonderful, beautiful world. Thank you so much for sharing it with us. We truly, truly are grateful for that. Thank you. I'm sorry with all the bullshit you had to put up with Disney. To the crew of Owl House, holy fuck. You guys put your heart and souls into this. Truly wonderful. I genuinely don't know how you could have made this better. You guys, if none of you get work after this, fuck. Everyone's making a mistake. The people that all worked on this together, you're all wonderful. And this is kind of an end for an era of Disney, like the late 2010s to early 2020s. And that's honestly shocking. Amphibia and Owl House were two really, really good shows. Both took it off really fast. But, like, they were amazing. Like, seeing where the creative industry is going, I'm very happy to see that these shows at least got to end how they wanted to. There were other ideas that both sides really wanted to put in, and that they never got it because they never had the time. Which sucks. Which sucks real bad. Oh, the animation for the last fight was so fucking good. Genuinely, this has been some of the best cartoons I've ever put out in a while. And that's because, like, we're seeing generations that grew up with cartoons like Teen Titans and Reboot and so many other shows now getting into the animation industry. And that they get to now do what they want. By the way, the LGBTQ inclusion, fuck yes. I do too. I do too. I really want animation studios and companies to learn that this is what audiences want. I am not ready to leave the boiling aisles. You don't have to leave, but it is done. I want these companies to learn that you can have kid shows with these complicated themes and messages. And this actually goes right into my next point, The Mandalorian and Bad Batch. As you all know, Bad Batch got its season finale just 2 weeks ago, and that shit made me cry. I have seen Laxadaisy. I have seen it. It's very good. It's very decent. I would have to see more, but from what I saw, could use a little bit better sound effects and a little bit more passion with the voice acting. But other than that, pretty decent, pretty good pilot. But back to the Star Wars thing. This is probably the best era of Star Wars for me, period. And I'll explain why. We live in a very politically charged time. And the adage goes that if you don't fuck with politics, politics will fuck with you. Star Wars has always been about politics. It has always been that way since the day it came out. It is Empire versus Rebels. People thought it was like the American Revolution. No, George Lucas said, I based this off the Viet Cong versus the Americans. The Viet Congs were the rebels in that movie, guys. Time to learn. And that Star Wars has always been a message of, if you have to fight, fight. Clone Wars is legit about the horrors of war. It is. It totally is. And now we're seeing the aftermath. We're seeing the middle. We're seeing Clone Wars to Galactic Civil, but we're seeing the middle of it. We're seeing the Dark Age. We're seeing that Dark Age. The Bad Batch and/or have been such good, deep insights into what living under a oppressive fascist regime is like. And that soldiers that help build that regime up are just as expendable. The Bad Batch, some of the most elite clones ever developed for the Empire, are deemed worthless because they're product. They're not people. Clones, people with individual thoughts, individual opinions, are trash. They're discarded. Their use is up. What use do we have? Sort of like our veteran problem here that we have in our modern world. Soldiers who put their lives on the line are tossed aside when their time is up. And there is no happy ending for the clones. There really isn't. We see what happens to them in, like, the show Obi-Wan. It's not pretty. And we get to see the full extent of that in Bad Batch Season 2. Where the Batch have to learn how to survive. They're not used to it. They're soldiers without an army. And they now have to take care of a kid, Omega. And they have to do dirty work to do it. And it's not a life worth living for... It's not a life that Omega can live. She's a kid. But she's being expected to do adult things as a kid. Which Hunter rightfully says is wrong. And we get to see, like, how the Empire's regime is not only affecting them, it's affecting everyone. Crosshair chooses to side with the Empire because I'm a perfect sniper. No one will ever get rid of me. I'm the best shot in the Republic. Means fuck all of the Empire. I can replace you with 10 snipers. People in the Empire learn very fast that you can be replaced. You have no worth. You have to prove your worth. And the second your worth is up, under the bus. Rampart learns that the hard way. Rampart blows up Tapoka City on order of the Empire, and he's thrown under the bus. He is told, like he is on public display arrested. He is thrown in jail, even though the order came from the top down. He's a scapegoat. He did it all on his own. All the evidence points to that, and convenient how the clones who are programmed to follow orders obediently are also thrown under the bus. Just so you can get stormtroopers. The public sector, the patriots who want to fight and defend the Empire. Very convenient. Sort of like how the Nazis did it back in World War II. Very, very convenient. Scapegoats, scapegoats, scapegoats. Fascism loves its scapegoats. Anything to put the blame somewhere else. It's always making an other and finding convenient excuses to get rid of old stuff. I don't like used equipment, said by the lieutenant in Crosshair's episode in Season 2. And Crosshair quickly learns that it doesn't matter how good you are. The Empire will replace you. Period. We get to see how brutal of someone like Crosshair can be, that he's very uncaring towards a lot of things when we first meet him. And that carries over into Bad Batch. And then when he's put on the spot, when he has to survive with a reg, someone who would have made fun of him, or someone who would have demeaned him for being a completely different thing, the clone that he works with in his episode basically sees him as a clone. Like, we're no different. And that, like, remind me not to die on your watch. Because Crosshair's belief and Crosshair's personality are very, very Empire-like. But when he realizes that they nearly died for fucking equipment that these guys could have been using this entire time, and the Empire didn't care, they're expendable. Crosshair doesn't want to be expendable. He's the best sniper. He's the best. Why is he expendable? Why are his fellow brothers expendable? He hauls his ass after an avalanche with this dying clone, proving that Crosshair still has a heart. Even after Season 1, he saved Omega from drowning. He has a heart. He is a good person deep down. It's just that he needed to be shown that the organization he chose to fight for doesn't care if he bites the dust. They don't care about him. They never did. It doesn't matter how good you are, how smart you are, how competent you are. The second you are not useful to a fascist regime like the Empire, you're gone. They don't need you. They don't need the clones. They don't need these wastes of space. They're used equipment and they can be discarded. Even when the lieutenant is shot, who is so sure of himself that he's important, when he's shot, we hear fuck all about it. We hear nothing. He's dead and gone. Replaced with another lieutenant later on. And we see what they're doing to the clones. We see what they're doing to them. Any clones that are being problematic, they become experimentation. Illegal experimentation. Which is horrific. And it all culminates in the Season 2 finale of Bad Batch, where everything goes wrong. The Batch find out that Crosshair is not okay, that he's in danger, and being the good people that they are, they stick their neck outs for him. I'm gonna spoil this shit rotten. I'm gonna spoil this shit rotten. So if you don't want spoilers, leave now. If you don't want spoilers, Magica, leave now. I am going to spoil the shit out of Season 2. Season two's finale is the breaking of the Bad Batch. We get the saddest point where the team is doing a routine mission. They're gonna go save Crosshair. They're getting the information. Everything's going fine. Why are some things not right? Why are cameras down? Why are patrols missing? What is going on? They have everything right, but it's too perfect. And then we see that the base that they're infiltrating, Tarkin's compound, has been infiltrated by Saw Gerrera's partisans and Saw Gerrera. And we quickly see this is something that I really like that Star Wars has pointed out. Just because you're fighting the same enemy does not mean you're fighting them the same way. Star Wars has gone down the route, it's not about why we fight. It's about how we fight. The rebels are all agreed. The Empire is evil. It has to go. But they fight very differently. Saw Gerrera is a monster. He is the very thing that the Empire uses to justify its cruelty, to justify its oppression of the innocent, to justify its security. Saw Gerrera kills kids. Saw Gerrera kills civilians. Saw Gerrera does not take prisoners. He blows things up. He's an animal. And here, in this very episode, he thinks killing Tarkin and all these officers inside the compound will change anything. No, it will not. This is such an early stage of the Empire that killing these guys would do nothing. He vastly oversimplifies the situation to a point that killing these guys would solve everything. No, it doesn't. And we see the consequences for Saw Gerrera's actions. One, we lose everything it has to do with... We can't find Crosshair anymore. The tracking device, the ship that the tracking device was put on, gone. We lost our chance at saving Crosshair. We lost our chance of finding where the clones were taken. Fuck! Then worse, even fucking worse, the Bad Batch are stuck on a monorail and are dealing with V-Wings strafing them with stormtroopers on the other side firing at them. They're in a shitty situation because Saw didn't take a moment to think. He just wants to hurt the Empire, which wouldn't do shit. It is the equivalent of me punching a tank. It won't do anything. And the season finale begins with Tech dying. Isn't Saw also in Rebels? He is, and you get to see he's worse there too. Tech dies. Tech dies, saving the rest of the team. And it's sad. He's not coming back. Tech died because Saw Gerrera is a piece of shit. We lose Tech. We lose a fundamental member of the squad. Sure, we lost Crosshair, but Crosshair was still alive. Echo left for a few episodes, and we felt the impact of not having him around. And this season was more focused on Tech and who he was. That Tech was different from Wrecker, from Hunter, from Crosshair, from Echo. He was a much more logical person. He processed information very differently. It was a very beautiful scene in Season 2 where Omega is very visibly upset and Tech keeps saying the wrong things because he's looking at it from a technical and logical perspective, but that's what he does to cope with his pain, because that's all he has. And when Omega calls him out on it, he just says, "This is how I work. You work your way, I work mine, and it doesn't mean we're both not suffering the same amount. It just means I process things differently from you." And now Tech's dead. He's gone. He's not coming back. He fell. He fell from a mountain height to a forested area below. There is no surviving that. Star Wars has always been very brutally real with how dead is dead. They're not coming back. Padme's not coming back. Obi-Wan is not coming back. Fives is not coming back. They're dead. And there were ways these deaths could have been prevented, but... And we get to see an even further breakdown of the Bad Batch. Sid, their handler, the person that took them in, sold them out. Her old rival was right. When push comes to shove, Sid would save her own scales. She would save her own hide. She would not stick her neck out for them when push came to shove. And God, that scene where the doctor is holding Tech's goggles, that shows just how fucked he is. That he basically said, "Oh, I salvaged them." He salvaged it. Like Tech was something to salvage. He doesn't treat the clones like people. He feigns kindness, this doctor, but he doesn't. He's not kind. He's a monster. And we get to see that with Bad Batch, that their family is broken, with Omega trying to keep what's left of her family alive, and she ends up getting captured because of it. Luckily for Hunter, Wrecker, and Echo, they get away. But this is very much the season of The Empire Strikes Back. And this is like that timeline for Star Wars. This is year 1 into the Empire. This is the start of the Dark Years for the galaxy. And we're seeing that unfold. There were glimmers of hope. And that the idea is that even though it seems hopeless to fight, that there doesn't seem like there's a point, there's always a point to fight. There's always a point to stand up to evil. And you should stand up to evil. Even if it's a losing fight. Standing up against evil, against those who would turn you against your fellow man, those who would judge others for not being the way we want them to be. Standing up to evil is always good. And then we get to the Mandalorian. This is after the Empire. Not very long. Empire's still running around. They're broken. They're shattered. I do not know if it takes place after the Aftermath trilogy. Does Mandalorian take place after the Aftermath trilogy? Takes place 5 years. So yeah, this is just after the Battle of Jakku. we see how in The Mandalorian, how united we are stronger. In that evil doesn't go away just because you beat it down. It is a constant fight. The Mandalorians were torn apart because of tradition, because their enemies used their fractured nature against them, and that they had no way to stand up against the threat of the Empire alone. Season 3 has shown us just that. That the Mandalorian is struggling. He has to go all the way back to a glassed planet. He has to go back to Mandalore to be redeemed for something that was out of his control. He loses everything because he gets hurt and has to go into a worse situation to be redeemed for something that wasn't directly his fault. But we also see the good, the bad, and the ugly of a post-war era. And this is something I actually really appreciate that Star Wars did, especially The Mandalorian. We see that the New Republic is not perfect. And I am getting sick to death of these videos that are saying that the New Republic has to be better. They're 5 years in. They are 5 years in, and what? They are not perfect. They are making mistakes. And a lot of it is just stuff they can't... You can't blame every soldier for following orders. Now, granted, that's not a defense for your actions. There's a reason why the Nuremberg trials happened. You can't commit atrocities and then say I was following orders. But what about the people who were just guards somewhere else where the atrocities never happened, or soldiers who were just regular rank and file and everything? They answered that by trying to reintegrate them, but they're doing it in a way that is very wrong. They aren't treating them like people. They're treating them like numbers, which is something you should never do to your fellow man, to your fellow person. And we see that. We see how dehumanizing it is, and that these people don't feel like they're with the Empire, and it makes it very easy for those who want to destroy the New Republic. It makes it easy for the Empire to slither in, to sow dissent, to spark the Empire again. And we see that. We see how very easy it was for one of these agents to turn a doctor who I think genuinely wanted to do good, but also was I don't know, I want to kind of continue my research for my own selfish interests. And we see that the New Republic is still making use of Imperial technology. New governments are not perfect. They're not always going to get something right. And we also see that, the Mandalorians have to get over themselves. They have to grow from the mistakes of the past. They can't you shouldn't let your tradition die, but you should adapt with the times. And the most recent episode that came out today, there is a very poetic thing that Din says to... Oh, why am I forgetting? Bo-Katan. The Darksaber means nothing to me. I follow you not because of the Darksaber, but because you're an honorable individual who holds her word. You are someone to be respected because you earn that respect. That's why I follow you. And that is perfect. It is okay for traditions to exist. And two groups that come from the same place but have very different cultures and traditions also need to realize that they come from the same place. The Children of the Watch and the Mandalorians of the Night Owl, they're Mandalorians through and through. Sure, they have different ways of doing things, but they're the same people. They were destroyed from the lack of unity, and they need to start getting along in order to survive. Just like the rest of us. The Empire beat them because they were fractured, they were infighting, they had very little support because the Mandalorians were prideful and didn't ask for help. They fought on their own and lost. Because a people divided and alone struggle to overcome evil. And that's what fascism does. It makes one group an other. It makes them a target. It makes them something to be defeated. They're evil. Modern day, the Republican Party othering trans people, while they continue to take the rights of women away and continue to take the rights of your neighbors away, your LGBTQ friends and family. They're othering them, using vague terminology and threatening words. That they're coming for you. They're coming for you. And pardoning people that murdered. Star Wars is telling you that's wrong. Star Wars is saying that's evil when they other you. When they decide that, when they turn you against others for differences that don't matter. It doesn't matter if you're trans. It doesn't matter if you're gay. You're a person at the end of the day, and your individuality should be respected. It doesn't matter if your gender does not matter. You as a person matter. And that you should be able to live the life that you want to live as comfortably as you want to live it, so long as you are not interfering or hurting anyone else. And that's what Star Wars is. Standing up against people that want to take that away from people. The Empire is the epitome of an evil that says, you can't be that. You can't do that. Because we say so. All because one asshole wanted power, and he played everyone against each other. He used fear. He used anger. He used hatred to get what he wanted. And it worked. And even in our modern day, we're seeing it. When you talk to most conservatives, most of them haven't even met or talked to a trans person. And when they do, it is usually in confrontation. It isn't to talk or sit down. And a lot of these fucks, these sick fucks, who are talking shit and saying like these people don't deserve rights, comparing trans people to pedophiles and monsters, they don't care. They just want to hurt people. They want power. They're getting money. They'll say everything they need to get money to stoke ignorance, fear, and hatred, because that gets them money. They're grifters. And they're hurting people to do it, and they don't care. Just like the Empire would. And which is why I think this is the best era of Star Wars for where we are right now in the times that we live in. That evil like this will toss you aside the second you're not useful. It will divide your people. It will turn you all against each other and hurt you. And that it is okay to fight back. What's not okay, and you have to decide how you fight back. And there are good ways to fight back, and there are bad ways. The Rebel Alliance did some really shitty things. Sometimes you have to go down that route. Sometimes. But for Saw Gerrera, for his partisans, the target didn't matter. The target did not matter to people like Saw, which is something that even today, like, I have to defend the left. Like, I have to defend my socialist ideals against people that point out, well, what about black separatism? What about those fucks over there that think that China is based? I think Russia invading Ukraine is based. I call them fucking idiots. I don't associate myself with those guys because they're wrong. They're disgusting. They're justifying evil. Saw Gerrera justifies his evil actions by hurting the Empire. When in reality, he doesn't. He blows some things up and he leaves. Blowing shit up doesn't solve anything. He doesn't establish a route for the Wookiees to flee Kashyyyk from the enslavement of the Empire. He doesn't do that. He blows some shit up and he leaves. He doesn't help the Geonosians. He wants to exterminate them. He doesn't want to save prisoners. He wants to blow up a ship so the Empire doesn't get the Kyber Crystal. You can do both. Nah, but it's faster my way. And we see in that same episode that those people that were being held prisoner are specialists that can help the rebels. And they do. Saw was willing to sacrifice talent. People that were hurt. Who wanted to fight. Just so he could deny the Empire resources. That they already had anyway. It doesn't matter if you set them back. They're going to keep up production. In fact, doing that probably hurt a lot more people because they're going to double the production to make up for the loss. More people suffer because Saw doesn't think further ahead. He thinks about now, and that's it. I blow up something now, that's good enough for me. And I like that a rebellion is not like this cookie cutter, dry thing. Rebellions, like rebels, are very complex groups of people. They're all fighting for very different reasons. For revenge against a regime that hurt them. For freedom because they see what it's doing to them. For money, for fame. Everybody's doing it for a different reason. And not all these groups agree with each other. Am I hyped for... Stay on topic. We're talking about Star Wars, not Pokemon. And I don't give a shit. I'm mad at Pokemon still. Bleh. We see that with the Rebels. We see that in Andor. Cells are sacrificed for the greater rebellion. People deemed not helpful to the rebellion are sacrificed to save the rest. And that's called out. That is genuinely called out in Andor. Like, you can't just decide who and what is useful when and where. And this is where we get the brutal telling of that's just how it is. We had to sacrifice one group to save the rest. Because if we don't, this rebellion falls apart. And that is heartbreaking. And that we see that, like, it takes a lot for people to stand up, to fight back. An entire community is thrown over the fucking wall because one person sells out Andor and he's killed for it. And their community is damaged because of it. The Empire came in, damaged everything, and left. Yeah, we're getting Star Wars that focuses on the world instead of Jesus' children. And I like that. It's good. Fuck these assholes that say this is woke garbage. They don't like it because it's calling out their tactics. They don't like it because the Empire's not this fun thing anymore. This isn't Star Wars Battlefront 2. This isn't a skin you get to wear. This is a story being told about how a fascist regime took over and is making everyone's lives worse. And we're shown good storytelling. Whew. Modern Star Wars is good. The sequel trilogy was flawed. I liked Episode 7. I liked half of Episode 8. I did not like Episode 9. But this modern telling of Star Wars is really, really good. I'm very, very happy we're getting the series that we're getting. I'm happy with Andor. I'm happy with The Mandalorian. I'm happy with Bad Batch. And I can't wait for Bad Batch Season 3. And I can't wait for Andor Season 2. And The Mandalorian gets its last episode for this season next week. And I will be very happy to talk about that when that comes around. Yeah, all in all, I'm excited. I'm excited for new Star Wars. I'm excited for what Disney is willing to put out there. And they might be a little bit more adventurous now that they're fighting with those same fascists that they're writing about. And now that they're not giving a shit about what they have to say. Because those same people that they're writing about are trying to censor them and trying to hurt them. Now, I'm not a fan of corporations, nor am I a fan of Disney being fucking Disney. But I think I'm going to take some poetic harmony from this, that Disney is fighting back and winning every step that they do, and embarrassing these fucking losers that want to take the rights of women and LGBTQ people away. I think that's really funny. Fuck you, Ron DeSantis, you sanctimonious piece of shit. And, again, I'm not in love with Disney as a corporation. I like the stuff they put out, but just because they put out good shit like the Owl House and Amphibia and Star Wars doesn't mean I condone their shit, like how they do things. But I do condone this because it's funny as fuck for me. So honestly, I would love to know what you guys think about, like, me talking about shows and stuff. And yes, Cold Hard. Yes! Yes! What do you guys think about me, like, talking about, like, shows and stuff like this? Do you like these talk streams where I just, like, sit down, express, like, how I enjoyed stuff, listen to you guys, get, like, have a dialogue? I love you talking about shows and stuff. Aww, thank you, Cargos. Hey, boss, honestly, my whole mind still is having a hard time wrapping around the fact that Republican supporters are literally switching to supporting Democrats. They are out of line. Shadow, I need to explain something here. Oh yeah, it is a bit weird, but these people are seeing how evil the Republicans are. There are people on the Republican side who are good people. They are very nice people. It's just that they kept voting for the same side because I vote for I constantly vote for like the one side because they weren't paying attention. But now they're seeing what pain this is causing. What is happening to like people they love, people in their lives. Gen Z, like a lot of Gen Z and millennials aren't talking to their parents anymore. Like families are being broken because of this. Like people have said, if you don't fuck with politics, politics will fuck with you. And this constant war on culture, this constant fucking culture war that the right wing is on is bullshit. It's nothing but fucking lunacy trying to demonize a group of people that they don't even know anything about medically, emotionally, mentally. They know nothing, and when the experts tell them they're wrong, they just decry the experts, saying like, oh, you're wrong because science, even though the very people doing the science are talking to them. They think science is flat, solved, done. No, science constantly evolves with time. We learn more things as we do stuff. We didn't just learn gravity because an apple fell on Newton's head. We had to like study it and everything. It wasn't done. We as a species are not done evolving physically, mentally, and emotionally. And Gen Z is showing that. Millennials are showing that. We are a group that are growing. And Shadow, if that is the best you can do, perfect. These people are not asking for much. The LGBTQIA+ community is not asking for much. They are asking to be treated like people, which is why I'm glad we're getting shows like Amphibia, Modern Star Wars, and Owl House, that this shit is normal. Gay people are normal. It is okay. It is okay, and I like that it's not like this put on a pedestal, like they need to be celebrated. No, they're normal. And that's perfectly fine. It is normal to be trans. It is normal to be gay. It is normal to be you. That's what they're arguing for. They're not arguing to be put up on a pedestal. They're not arguing to be put on a statue. They just want to be treated like people. Just like me, my autism, I want to be treated like a person. I want to offer promotion of your channel, viewers, followers. Bot, be gone. Thank you. We were in a moment. But yeah, the people that want to dehumanize trans people, that want to dehumanize the LGBTQ, fuck them. The second you want to other somebody, my tism didn't enjoy that interruption. Mine didn't either. I want to be treated like a normal person because I am. Sure, I have a bit of a disability. Too many synaptic links in one outlet and not enough in another. Or synaptic wavelengths just off in the distance doing nothing. I'm normal. And that's okay. I'm a person. This is why I'm hopeful. This is why I try to stay as optimistic as possible. I get frustrated, I get angry. Who doesn't? But this is why I'm so glad to have the shows that we have now. These shows that include stuff that like kids need to know, that kids need to be shown is normal. It's normal for this shit. I was shocked that the ghost in Molly McGee did a period episode. I was shocked. Not in a bad way, just like, oh, we're going there. Okay, no, perfectly fine. Because they're taking away these lessons from school. And that's horrific. As a man, I will never know what it's like to live as a woman. But I can assure you that a lot of people would have really been happy to have that episode of Molly McGee. Struggles are real. We just want a chance to live our lives how we can. Yeah, we can't work the standard 9 to 5, but we stream, we write, we make videos, and express ourselves while doing what we can. Yes. Something funny, brain just thought of that no matter what someone's politics are, no one likes fascists besides fascists. Like liberals, Democrats, Republicans, Libertarians, Socialists, Capitalists, and everything in between may not always get along, but when the fascists are shitting on our lawn, we all turn our pitchforks and torches to them. Yes, we may not agree on everything, but the second you start arguing to take away the rights of other people, you're in the wrong. And this is something that I need to point out to my American audience. Because you guys live with freedom of speech. There is nothing wrong with freedom of speech. There's nothing wrong with freedom of opinion. That being said, freedom of speech and freedom of opinion is not freedom from consequences. Is not free to be a fucking asshole. Social consequences exist. You are not being canceled because you opened your mouth. You're being canceled for the things that came out of your open mouth. And even then, you're feeling the consequences of being an asshole. Shouldn't LGBTQ topics be taught in sex ed or high school? Why do you assume that asexuality is sexual? This is something that needs to be, like, removed from the brains of people. Just because you're gay makes you no more sexual than a straight person. This is something that the Republicans and, like, the far right are trying to push onto people, that if you admit that you're a lesbian, you're a sexual deviant. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? If you're gay and you like kissing guys, cool. I'm straight. I like kissing girls. That's not sexual. It's just who I am as a person. This is my wife. This is my husband. This is my partner. There's nothing inherently sexual about that. These weirdos, I mean nothing about this, just have a... And I'm not attacking you. I'm letting you know now this is not an attack. This is something that the far right is doing. It is a genuine question that you asked, and I am answering it. That being gay is not inherently sexual. Being lesbian is not inherently sexual. Being trans is not inherently sexual. None of it is. You have people that you're attracted to, physically, and emotionally, and mentally. Gay guys like guys. Lesbians like girls. Trans people feel uncomfortable in their skin because they got too much of one chemical and not enough of another. So they feel uncomfortable in their own skin and they want to have the sex change to be comfortable in their own body. My fiance literally described what it's like on days where they are, like, forced to dress up like a woman, in that it feels gross to be in their own body. My fiance is non-binary. I don't know what it's like to feel gross in my own body in that way. I felt gross in my own body. I'm overweight. But I don't know what it's like to feel like you don't belong in your body because the chemicals are wrong and they fuck with you so bad. That's not sexual. That's human biology. I don't know what got flagged either. Being gay should be no different being taught in schools. It shouldn't be criminalized. Like, extremely. When we're talking about LGBTQ stuff, we are not bringing up sex. Yes, sex ed is dealing with your body growing. It is dealing with, like, the chemical change that your body's going through. I was taught this in grade 3. I was a young, tiny lad when I was taught, like, hey, your body's going to start growing, you're going to start to smell, you're going to have these problems, this and this. And it wasn't until later when, like, grade 5, I was taught what an erection was. And it wasn't, like, treated like, oh, like, they didn't show us porn. They showed us, this is how the human penis works. This is how this works. And you need to be able to take care of it. Not like, oh, but like, here, you put on deodorant to help with the smell, you do this, this, and this to help with, like, your body odor, and to help you, like, balance out who you are as a person, and shit like that. It's teaching you about your body and that these things are natural. That you shouldn't feel ashamed of having acne, that you shouldn't be, like, grossed out because you're getting taller, that, like, smell needs to be contained, but these are natural and you don't have to be scared. I don't know what it was like on the women's side, but judging from how the girls came out of that room, they were mortified because, like, they were just told, hey, you're gonna start bleeding out of that hole there, so, here's ways to deal with that. There's nothing sexual about it. What these people are doing by saying, like, LGBTQ stuff is sexualized, is that they're targeting sex ed. Because I need to point something out to you. Republicans in Tennessee shot down sex ed being taught in schools, but they defended child marriages. That tells you a lot. These freaks in power want the ability to rape kids, to marry children off, because kids don't understand what's going on. But you want to know something interesting? Studies have proven that if you teach kids with sex ed, they can actually understand what's happening to them. That they're being used, that they're being hurt. Demonizing LGBTQ and treating it like sexuality while also targeting health class for kids with the excuse that we're teaching woke shit to kids to brainwash them and to groom them from the groomers is just an excuse for them to keep hurting those kids. Oh yeah, no, I don't understand it either. Like, periods boggle my mind, and I am absolutely like, I do not envy being a woman. I do not envy it. Like, holy fuck, if I bled from my dick for a week, holy shit, I'd lose my mind. And it hurts too. Fucking hurts too. It's like a constant cramp that you can't get rid of for a week. Holy shit. It sucks. I make sure to take extra care of Phoenix when they're on their periods, because it sucks dick. Okay, but yeah. LGBTQ stuff is not inherently sexual. Yes, there is sexy stuff in the community, but it is relegated to adults. We do not bring the sexy stuff in front of kids, because we are aware that kids should not be exposed to that. And to the parts of the LGBTQ community that are extremely sexual, that is perfectly fine. They're consenting adults that do that. They shouldn't have to stop doing that because some prude down the street is screaming at them. Fuck that person. They're not doing it in the streets in front of children. And drag shows too. Most drag shows are 18 plus. The ones that aren't, they are perfectly fine for kids to watch. It's just people playing dress up. There is no difference from going to a drag show to going to a standard play. Guys dressed up as women all the time back in the day. Why is it a fucking problem now? Napoleon Bonaparte wore a dress. The most successful French general and emperor wore a dress. Most kings wore dresses. There is nothing wrong with a guy wearing a dress. Alright, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm gonna go get dinner. But I love you all. I hope this answered the question, Shadow. And remember, it is not bad to ask a genuine question if you are trying to learn. And at no point was this an attack on you or anyone else. But I hope all of you have a wonderful night. We will pick this up tomorrow. I have started editing the Resident Evil 4 video, so hopefully we will get that out before the 30th. I love you all.